Okay, so here's an example that uses a bubble sort. So you'll see that we have an array. Its size is 6. Here's the elements that are stored in the array. We're going to show the contents of the array, then we're going to sort the array, and once it's been sorted, we're going to show the contents of the array again. So the show array function just has a simple for loop that displays the contents of the array. We're going to run it, and you can see quickly what it does, and then we'll look at the sort function. So here's what it looks like originally, and then here's what it looks like after it's sorted. Keep in mind, if you write a program with a sort in it, the only way you can tell if your sort really worked is if you display the sorted array. Okay? Alright, so let's just look at the code here for the sort. Now this is a nested loop, so I want you to see that. You've got a do and a while here, that's the outer loop, and the inner loop is a for loop. So initially, this will kind of be our first pass through. It's going to set this Boolean variable swap to false. That means in this first pass through, nothing has been swapped, so if nothing's swapped, we don't know if what's in order yet. Okay, so for loop is going to start off count equal 1, count less than size minus 1. So keep in mind this array is 6. The count's going to start at 0 and it's going to continue while it's less than 5. And so that means count's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason is we only want count to go up to 4 because when it hits index 4, it's going to compare it to index 5, and that's as far as that particular array goes. So when the count is 0, it's going to compare count sub 0 to array sub 0 to array sub 1. If what's in the 0 index is greater than what's in the 1 index, it's going to use this little section of code to swap those two values, and then it's going to set our swap variable to true. So that's going to mean within this pass through, this first pass through, a swap occurred. So we know that it was unsorted. Alright, so then you're going to continue, you're going to go through when count is 1, you'll look at array sub 1 versus array sub 2, then when count is 2, you'll compare array sub 2 to array sub 3, etc., etc. When you get all the way to the end and you compare 4 and 5 indexes, then what's going to happen is your for loop will end. If swap is true, right, that meant a swap happened, so it's not sorted yet, it's going to go through another pass. So we'll set swap to false for the second pass through, and again it's going to go through and it's going to compare the adjacent elements. So keep in mind the first pass through, it's going to take the largest element, will actually be at array sub 5 in this case. So we know that that's going to be in its correct location. So now it's going to go through all the other elements. Again, if a swap happens at any step along the way, then this swap variable will be set to true and it will go through another pass. So that's kind of how that works. If you look at, eventually it's going to become sorted. When it becomes sorted, there won't be any swaps that happen, and so you have a whole pass where no swaps happen. Swap is going to start off at false, no swaps will happen, and that's what's going to end the while loop eventually. Okay, so again, I'll run it one more time, and you can see that's sorted. Now once you have the code for this sort, you really, if you understand it, you can use it in other programs.